What needs to happen to make the IPL more competitive?
I don't think there is. So they've got the mega auction.
Yeah.
And there really isn't anything else that helps you when a team is poor get better. So, for instance, there's no sort of draft capital that you can get. So if you come last, you don't get better draft or anything like that. You don't get access to the best young players coming through or anything like that. So at the moment, it's like I think you can get stuck in either mediocrity, right, or even get stuck at the bottom. And so Chennai really understand what they're trying to do and always have. Kolkata have come up with some really good ideas over the years and have had Sunil Narayan and Andre Russell for 12 years, whatever it is now. And Mumbai are really good at finding young players, but also having a great core together. The other teams aren't as smart. The only way to help them is to actually build it into the system that they can get something. So when we get to a mega auction, Mumbai is still going to be able to keep Jasprit Bumrah and Hardik Pandya and Kieron Pollard and whoever that may be, right? So what really probably needs to happen in the future is for the poorer teams to have something that is given to them to give more balance. But I don't think it's not as unbalanced as some other T20 leagues out there.
I was going to say, I mean, and also comparing it to other sports.
Yeah, I think it's pretty balanced.
You know, if you look at F1.
What do you mean poorer teams? You mean teams who haven't got the money?
No, well, there is an element of that as well. But I mean, if you look, one of the great things about American sports, right, and they get a lot wrong in America, but they get a lot right as well, is they're always trying to make sure that the teams who are with poor records have some sort of advantage going into the next year, so that hopefully in the future their fans will be able to. So even if you've got a team where, like, let's say you went all out with the best young players in the IPL now, and you just went for 3 years, we're only going to get the best young players. You would pay a lot of money for them. You would get those players, but then at the next mega auction, you can only keep maybe 3 or 4 of them, maybe 6 of them if you're lucky, and you have to build your side back up. Whereas the other teams have the ability to bring in, you know, big name players, keep them involved, and then have them for the next 10 or 15 years. Like Dhoni's never going to leave CSK and Rohit's never going to leave Mumbai and all that sort of stuff. So you need something so that these smaller teams have their ability to get their Dhoni or their Rohit Sharma. Whereas at the moment, they're still going up against Mumbai, and Mumbai can still buy that next young great player, right? So there's no equity in the system from that point of view. So being bad in the IPL means you could get caught being bad for a long period of time. Punjab might be the best example of a team that has just got stuck, right? And it's taken them until this cycle to get out of it. So I think the mega auction is there for that reason, but it doesn't really work. But when it comes down to it, I think the other teams have just been smarter.
I thought it was, you know, you've got all these millionaire, billionaire owners and you're all the same. You've got to buy properly and sensibly. Yeah. And we'll see who comes out at the top.
Yeah, but that is that what you want? Or do you want it? Because then you're assuming all those billionaires are going to buy sensibly.
Well,
but they're not.
Well, that's their problem.
It is their problem.
Yeah.
But if you're building a league, it's your problem. Do you really want a league where only Mumbai and Chennai continue to win a huge percentage? Have they won 50% of the titles?
They must have the best people buying. They must have the best knowledge.
No, they do. I'm not having a go at them. They're doing great. But if you're running a league, you don't want to come in every year with them in the top 2 or 3 favourites and then winning the title.
You want the bottom teams to up your game.
And that's what I'm saying. So you need to build in that sort of competitive balance.
Okay.
And the only thing they have is the mega auction. And the mega auction it doesn't really do what it's supposed to do. Because if the mega auction had worked, we would have parity in that league. And we don't have parity. We have 3 teams who've won almost all the titles.
It is a fantastic league. The entertainment and the quality of play. I would change if you're asking what would you change. I think that having worked on it, strategic timeout is utter nonsense, absolute nonsense. That when this game was invented, T20, it was snappy. It's a quick game, and it's gone slower and slower and slower. It's taking hours, and that's not what it was designed for. To be still at a cricket ground at midnight cannot be right.
I wonder what if with YouTube you can see your audience, and I'm sure you can do similar with the TV. I wonder whether, if there was a massive drop-off, then I imagine the TV bods will be saying, push it forward, quicken it up.
Yeah.
As that isn't...
But it's the players that are, tactically, the captain standing with the ball and moving the field. They've got to be sharper. There's no... I'm an old stager. There is no excuse for it. It's a T20 game. It's a fast game. It's a sharp game. Don't make it into a test match. It's not designed for that.
I
You've
can
got to
understand.
make it quicker.
Because if you look at the NFL takes what, about 4 hours for what is 48 minutes of play.
Yeah.
Right? And the NFL rates so well, I get the idea. My issue is there a time of which, as you say, with the YouTube viewership, where it just comes down, and we can see that on the TV ratings. Like, how many good IPL games are people not watching the end of because of how late they're finishing? And India, we're saying this from the UK, and I'm an Australian, like, we are generally to bed earlier than it seems to be a lot of my friends and people I know who work in India.
Absolutely.
But it's still late.
Yeah.
And it's late if you're a kid and you want to watch it. So at what stage does it not help them to have that? And I think that's worth looking at into the future. But I also think that the league needs to expand. We need to, the game the other night, Mumbai-Kolkata, Bumble, like I had my eyes like this to keep open. It was such a tedious game because about 8 overs in, you knew that Kolkata could not possibly win. And the game went on and on. And I was thinking, if this was the Blast, I would have just turned on a different game.
These people are savvy. The owners are savvy, multi-billionaires and so on. And so I'll qualify what I'm saying about strategic timeouts and the time of the game. It may work in India. For an Indian audience, that's fine. But to grow the game in the UK and anywhere else, people, they're not up for that. They're not prepared for it because they will go to bed and they will do something else. They want it snappy.
But what I'm saying is, if you're going to have the long games, give me 2 options. Because there's no point having a long game that's boring as well, right? So if you have... So this is the problem I have with the IPL is there's only ever one game on.
But
and T20 games, every second T20 game's going to be crap anyway. Like, not having to go, every second cricket game's crap.
Haven't we had a strategic timeout with 2 to win recently?
Yeah.
2 to win.
Two
to win.
That's happened a few times.
Strategic timeout. And I know why. I suppose that strategic timeout means you get more adverts, you get more revenue, there's more money. Yeah. But it might work in India. See,
I'm okay with the strategic timeout. It's just how long it takes their innings to play. You give me an extra 5 minutes of breaks, I'm fine. Do what you need to do with your sponsors, but it takes so long.
Tell me what they do in a strategic timeout. Now, I used to be a coach. Tell me what they do.
So my job as an analyst was to tell the coach whatever messages we needed to pass on. So it might have been, if we were bowling, it would be something along the lines of, we need more slow balls. This wicket has started to grip now.
So the captain doesn't know that.
Hey?
The captain's got to know that, surely.
But they won't have the same data that I'm working off, right?
Just bowl plenty of slower balls, mate. This pitch is doing this. The atmosphere here, they're going behind. He can't play them. Bowl some slower balls. Captain.
But the captain is also working on it.
I'm doing you out of a job here.
Yeah. I actually think the analyst is the most important person in cricket. No, but I think with the captain, you've got to remember how many different things the captain is doing at one time.
He's trying to win a cricket match.
And not all, but they don't see every single thing.
Shouldn't be captain.
We're now firing all captains. A minute ago, he's getting rid of the strategic timeout.
One of the points you made, because it's still a relatively new league. Well,
definitely.
Actually, forget relative. It is a new league.
Yeah.
Did CSK and Mumbai just stumble on these great players? I mean, you talk about the success, and you're absolutely right. KKR, Andre Russell and Sunil Narine throughout. Mumbai with Rohit Sharma, and they had Malinga for a long, long time as well.
Brothers.
And they got these. So these decisions made a long time ago. Yeah. And of course, MS Dhoni at CSK alongside Dwayne Bravo and some of these absolute greats. Are they, as we're now coming to the end of MS Dhoni, Andre Russell, Sunil Narine, even Rohit Sharma, is now the time? Is it kind of now or never for the other teams to come in and maybe replicate what, through luck as much as anything, because you form, fitness, everything.
John, like the Premier League, there's teams that you would think are non-entities in the Premier League football that are now challenging that top 4.
Because, and if you look at the Premier League, if you look at the great Manchester United sides, and they had common players throughout that came through the youth teams. Arsenal were the same. Chelsea brought in their players, but John Terry was there for a long, long time. Frank Lampard. When these players stopped, that's when the teams stopped. So is it now or never for other teams in the IPL to stake their claim as those greats are coming towards the end?
I think there's an element of you have to give the teams credit. So, for instance, if you look at what Chennai have done, they went out of their way to get role players as their international players, right? And make sure that they have very good Indian players, because the Indian players are always available, right? And then they could get Mike Hussey in the middle order, George Bailey, those sorts of players, right? Sam Curran, Moeen Ali. So not always they're not going for AB de Villiers and Chris Gale, are they? So that's a really good strategy. On top of that, they made their wicket spin sideways, and they picked a bunch of finger spinners and batters who could play against it. Mumbai has been absolutely brilliant at finding. They've got this 24-year-old who never played a game of senior cricket or one game of senior cricket and plays in the IPL and takes 4 wickets in his first game. Little left arm wrist spinner, right? Any team in India could have gone out and found that kid.
Yeah.
Where was Bumrah? There were people who'd seen Bumrah before who thought there was something in Bumrah. But again, Mumbai keep picking that. The Pandya brothers weren't particularly highly rated, and so they both ended up there. And KKR have done lots of smart things as well. So I think it is a combination of those two things. I also think it's dumb luck that Delhi and RCB have not won a title yet. But I also know how badly those franchises have been run.
Who is the best director of cricket? I assume they've got one of them in the history of IPL. And who's the best coach? Who's the best coach? Who's the best director of cricket?
That's a good shout.
I mean, I think the whole Chennai setup, they're very private with how it's done. So we know a little bit more about Kolkata. So there's Venki in Kolkata, who is a genius and has also done well in franchise leagues outside of there. And I remember when I was working in the CPL, we had the owners meeting, and some of the questions from the owners Bumble, I was like, it was bad. And Venki was like, so in paragraph 7, subclause, and I could tell why he was asking the question, because in his mind he was thinking, well, I've got this player and I want him to do this. And, he was really working through stuff from that perspective. So he was very good. But yeah, Chennai, that sort of Stephen Fleming, MS Dhoni, and the whole management of Chennai, I think are very, very clever. And in Mumbai, again, I don't think what we don't really have at the moment is perhaps famous general managers in the franchise cricket, but that will probably come in the next couple of generations, right? Where you'll start to get those sorts of people. Someone like Vikram Solanki doing that job at Gujarat. I'm not saying he's the one, but people are starting to take over. And Kumar Sangakkara has gone from a coach to whatever his role is.
Well, it's like a director of cricket who will oversee and identify talent for future talent. That's vital. That who's available.
So we're just getting to the point in cricket where we're getting really good scouting teams. Right?
Yeah.
So the scouting teams are getting up there now. Yeah. We're just getting to the point where the general managers are starting to get the most power, which makes sense because they're the people who should be picking who the captain is and the coaches. The buck has to stop somewhere, right? Yes. We're just getting to that, but there's still an overlap of sort of old cricket where you might get the captain who is very important or a coach who's very important. So we need to get to that sort of thing. Because the thing with the coaches do you remember when Trevor Bayliss was coach and he always used to say, well, I don't know if I can be a selector. I don't watch any county cricket. Most of the coaches that I know don't know who these cricketers are until some random scout or general manager has suggested them to them. That shouldn't be their job. So why are they making decisions at the auction table, right?
But they would be part of a conversation that you can now look at. Here's a player, I haven't seen him. Well, here's the video. What do you think? And you expand. Right, let's have another look. Let's send him to have a look. Let's send him or her to have a look. Then you make a decision.
I assume this is how it works in football. But having followed in America, essentially what happens is the general manager hires the coach with the vision that they want. The coach then says, this is how we want to play. And the general manager goes off to get the players to fit that. And we never got to do it properly at St. Lucia, but I said to Brad Hodge, I'm the general manager, you're the coach. How do you want to play? And we talked about it. And I said, great, I back that. I agree with that. Let me go off and get the players. But if I can't get the exact players that you want, you can moan at me, but you have to understand that that's how the system works. But I'm going to try and fulfill that. I think there is so much push and pull. And part of the problem in cricket is captains are so powerful. Coaches are generally, former legends or have coached around the world. The general managers at the moment are not all that powerful. And then in India, you kind of have this sort of dual system. You might have like a big foreign general manager or someone who's involved, but then you'll have someone who speaks the local languages. So there's usually 4 or 5 people in that pool. Yeah. And where that goes wrong for the bad teams is that everyone you watch it, there'll be an 11 out there and you can almost go, those 2 guys are the coaches, those 2 guys are the captain's picks, those 2 guys are one general manager, those 2 guys are the director of cricket's job. And then with Chennai, it all comes together because they all have Stephen Fleming, MS Dhoni, and all the people who've worked at Chennai.
So they've had
stability. A singular vision.
Stability is key as well.
We want to be able to play spin. We want to be able to bowl spin. We don't want to spend all of our money on big overseas players. We want to get big Indian players in because they'll play every game. That makes a lot more sense.
There is another element to all this, and that is the teams themselves. So if you look at the Blast, for instance, I think which I think is a terrific tournament. I think we all do. I mean, the structure is all over the place, but essentially you've got a competition which has been around for 23 years.
Yep.
There are 18 counties playing it in its first year, and those exact same 18 counties are playing it.
It'll disappear, won't it?
No, I don't think it'll disappear, but
something's got to disappear.
There are only 4 counties, maybe 5, that have never won the Blast, which I think is pretty good. How many different teams have there been in the IPL? Because there have been quite a few variants of...
There's the Gujarat Lions, the Pune Super Giants.
Yeah,
Are they the Super Giants?
The Super Giant and the Super Giants, same team. They
Yeah.
just added
Was there a team in Kerala? Yeah. Kochi Tuskers.
Kochi Tuskers, wasn't it? Deccan Chargers.
They should play more cricket in Kerala, by the way. That's good play. Deccan Chargers is kind of the Sunrisers, but because it's played in the same place, but they did it's like a half new team, isn't it?
It's a kind of sleight of hand.
Yeah, but they got rid of the song.
Surely the Blast, and I agree, did fantastic competition. It will go that the sale of the 100 is now the UK's franchise league. And it will become, I assume, a T20 league if it's going to be sold overseas.
Eventually it will.
Will.
I would assume the owners will ask for it to become a T20 league.
T20 league, because you're going to get more adverts in for 120 deliveries than you are for 100.
But wouldn't you keep the Blast and get rid of the 50-over competition?
Well, a 50-over competition is what they play a World Cup.
I understand that.
We would all agree, surely, there is one competition too many. Now we've got the franchise league in the UK, which will be a T20 league, I'm certain. It's all my own opinion. So that means your Blast is surplus. And we may get more teams in the franchise league. Yeah. We now have 8, we might get 12. And so the game will evolve in the UK, but we would all agree we've got one competition too many. Are you going to throw the 50 over away? It's not popular.
I don't know if you know this. They do actually have a second T20 competition in India. The Syed Mushtaq Ali Trophy, SMAT, as the people on the internet call it. And they then have a big league in Bangalore and Chennai as well. It actually helps for finding and identifying talent. And also, people still go to those competitions, right? Whereas
Is it televised?
Who goes to 50 over domestic cricket anymore?
Well, it's an
England or
unpopular game.
Yeah, and I'm not having a go. I'm not having a go at it because I wish it was 40 overs, but that's a different conversation. But if you're looking at it from a monetary point of view, not a cricket point of view, you can make the argument that the Blast and the 100 work better, and then you have your Red Bull stuff completely separate, and you work out your one-day World Cups when you get there. And will the one-day World Cup be the biggest World Cup in 10 years' time?
I'd have a sadness if the Blast it fell by the wayside. I'd be quite sad.
You're Mr. Blast.
I love the Blast.
Will you just do silent mascot races in your backyard on your own if the Blast disappears?
I'm still trying to come to terms with what the hell they are dressed as. Nuts the squirrel, Lenny the lion, the giraffe, Lanky the giraffe. Who's winning? Who's lost the shoes? Oh, his head's fell off.